showtime.
Well, welcome back to the channel. Black is Black. Got a new guest on here, another old friend from back in the past. Hadn't connected with him in years and years, and want to welcome him onto the podcast here. Danny Allen. How you doing, Danny?
Hey, Richard, how are you, man? I'm fine. I am.
I'm
This is my first go at one of these things, so I'm excited.
just conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's see. It's kind of a trip down memory lane for you and I. I started
Okay.
about 1970 when we were neighbors for a while, and then I
Rich,
think the next in
what was the name of that
out
curve?
there on what's that?
What was the name of that curve out there?
Mills
Mills Curve. That's right.
Curve. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, out there across the street from the Flotus.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So what's up,
Well,
man? What are we doing? What's up?
well, for me, I got a still working. I've got a job here on the north side of Tampa. It's about 25 miles up there. I only go in 4 days a week, take Wednesdays off. And I work from home. And so, it's kind of being like semi-retired, I guess.
Right.
I'm an estimator for another steel fabrication company. And so all I do
Cool.
is look at drawings and put
Right.
down material and labor and turn them in and go to the next one.
No kidding.
Something I've been doing since about
Well, forever. Yeah. About that.
1975.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About as long as I remember. Yes.
Yeah. Not hard to do. But anyway, yeah, that's about it. For me, I mean, there were several transitions. Um, and I worked for my dad out there at Mount Vernon
Right.
Steel.
Right.
And in 93, I left him and started a Infinite Access Corporation there. And we worked out of the old shoe factory there in Mount
Right.
Vernon.
Right.
And built on some buildings and stuff, and
Right.
made elevators, modular elevators. We built them start to finish right there in the shop. Shipped them out on a semi, and they stood them up and hooked them up and off and running.
Yeah.
Handicap ramps. What's that?
Wasn't that long ago that they were loading shoes on the railroads out of that building and sending them to
That
St. Louis,
yeah,
as a floristry. I grew up there on 22nd Street, so I remember the Whistle and Max's
yeah,
Cafe and all of that stuff.
yeah. And I think about everybody in my family worked there at one time or another. I don't know
Yeah.
about yours.
Well, yeah, I mean, my old man was a barber, so when we got there, my most of my family were from Hamilton County, so
Right.
which is one of
Yeah.
the ways I ended up making my way back here.
Right. Exactly. So, real quick before we proceed, so are you still sharing occupancy there in Bellrive and over at Cave?
I am actually Michelle's my wife. She's around here somewhere talking to Dexter. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, she's here. We live. It's not really Bellrive, Richard. It's in Dahlgren.
Dahlgren, that's right.
Dahlgren. Damn it. Anyway, it's
Dahlgren, that's right.
um. So we live in the same house that my grandmother lived in for 70 years, and then my grandfather's parents for a little while before that. My mother, my dad, and my uncle Howard, who's still around, uh, were both born and raised in the house. Like literally born and raised. And then
Right.
my maternal grandparents were also from here, and my grandfather ran a or several different brands actually over the years. Was one of the first service stations in probably this part of the country, as far as I know.
Right. Is
Used to
that
have to take the
the
train.
place? Yeah. Is that the place over on Piopolis Road, that house?
No, that was the paternal side of the family, if you will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the maternal side was they were city folk, man. They didn't grow up in the country.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, for me, I ran that place until 2008 when everything crashed and had to shut the doors. And then from there, I moved out to Maryland and worked for a while. And then my cousin Dan, he called me back to Illinois. We moved back to Illinois and started another company called Inotech,
Right.
and manufacturer of steel balconies, prefabricated balconies. And about 5 years into that, I said, you know what, this is all I've ever done. I want to do something different. By that time, my daughter Melissa had moved into Waynesboro, Virginia, and she
Right.
was begging us to come out there.
Right.
So I went out there and opened a restaurant, and worked that, built up a pretty good business. But as fate would have it, about a year in, Peggy came down with ALS, and
Right.
I lost her within a year.
Right.
So after she was gone, I decided mom and dad were back down here, and I decided, you know what, I need a change of
You,
atmosphere, so I'm going to head.
Richard, you do know that ALS got Bart Southern too, don't you?
No, I did not know that.
Sure enough. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a little less than a year. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's not something fun to watch.
No.
It's a slow progression, but some people. There's a guy there in Mount Vernon. Can't think of his name now, but he's had it for years and years and years.
Really.
And what's his
Yeah.
name? I can't remember. You probably know it. He was at our age, but no, she just started losing strength in her legs, and then she got to where she couldn't walk without a walker, and then finally, to the wheelchair, and then she couldn't use her hands, and like
Yeah.
coffee or something, you had to put a big straw in it where she could drink out of it, and it wasn't a pretty story, so
Yeah.
we'll move on from that. But anyway,
Well,
I ended up back here in Florida. Um, After I got down here, I had gotten a couple of friend requests from some girl. I didn't recognize the picture, but she requested 2 or 3 times, and I asked my daughters. I said, "You know who this is? They keep requesting friend." And so finally, I was curious enough. I went ahead and accepted it. Well, it turned out to be, you may remember, as Tammy Matroy. I
yeah. I
don't know
don't
if you
know,
remember or
Richard.
not. She
I'm
was
sure
married to
she's.
Mark Matroy.
Yeah. I kind of remember the names. Yeah, man.
Yeah. But anyway, long story short, there within a few months, she had moved in with me down here, and a few months after that, we got married, and
This is a
here we
family
are.
friend. It's a family friendly show. I have lots of questions, but I'm not
Right.
going to ask any of them.
Oh well, I mean, it's wide open. It
Is
gets a
this
little
video? Is this video and audio? Can they see your face turning red too?
yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah. Anyways, just I want to take you back to the '80s, when 4, 5, 6, 7 of us were cramming into a bedroom at Daryl Black's house,
Great. Yeah,
uh,
it was
working
fun,
working
man.
up some tunes.
It was.
Yeah,
It was one of the most joyous musical experiences that I've had. Just hanging out with a group of friends, men and women both, and
right.
and it's been a challenge all of these years to keep that kind of perspective. And
Yeah, yeah,
every once in a while, magic happens. Even you get to be our age.
right, right. Yeah, I remember. Well, Auxer Creek at first. Some guy hung a big sign up on the water tower about the Auxer Creek Jazz Band.
I kind of recall that too. That was, I don't know if that's for family friendly entertainment or not either, but that was one of the funnest nights I've ever had in my life. Not that
And
I
then
was
there was
there.
the
I don't want to self incriminate.
yeah, yeah. There was and then the name changed to the Convertibles.
Well, yeah, that's when we started losing our minds.
Yeah, yeah. Probably one of the most memorable uh, nights during that era was I think it was New Year's Eve at the Double J Bar
The Hubba Bubba.
when uh, when we hung the curtain up where we could drop it, and you played. I think you played.
Let's do the time
Oh,
warp.
the Time Warp, and then the curtain dropped, and everything changed, and then you come
Oh
out and
yeah,
did a
you're right.
Country Boy
I had it
Can't Survive.
backwards. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't really remember now, but
yeah,
it
yeah,
was fun. And
yep,
there are We're fortunate enough that we get to hang out with some people around here that are younger than us, right?
Right.
And there's a whole slew of not that's not a very good word. It's there are some amazing young and older talented people playing bluegrass music, and I'm talking about Billy Strings. I'm talking about Molly
Right.
Tuttle. You can go
Yeah.
down Sierra. I mean, it's incredible, and I'm honestly technologically challenged these days, so I don't hear a lot of new music that people are into. And
Uh,
all of a sudden, I'm hearing people listening to. In fact, Michelle and I are going to go. We're going to go to a Billy Strings show in St. Louis this summer, and
that'll be fun.
yeah, so it's kind of like the Grateful Dead, Richard. One of the guys we hang with was telling me that he played 6 straight days in some Asheville out in North Carolina recently,
Right. Right.
and never played the
Right.
same song, let alone the same arrangement. Never one time played the same song,
Wow.
and they just how they manage that is just it has renewed
Yeah.
my faith in music. I mean, they're playing Big Spike Hammer and Shady Grove and
Yeah.
stuff that we were playing around the campfire 50 years ago. And
Yeah. It's stayed alive. That's for
yeah,
sure.
no,
Certain.
and they're keeping it alive. That's what I like about it.
Right. Right. Keeping it going. It's a sad state, I think, when it comes to country music, what they call country music nowadays. I think you got
Oh,
to be
Richard,
kidding
what are
me.
you talking about, man? I can't wait to get back to Broadway and hang out at corners and hear one of those. No, man, you're right. I remember Layla's when it had a dirt floor. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, speaking dirt floors, I remember we all rode her when we was all riding in a pack down to old Shawnee Town to a bar down there, and them guys were in there playing. Their amps were so old they were the padded
Yeah.
vinyl
Oh
padded
yeah.
ribbed,
Yeah.
and the floor had several holes in it where you could see the dirt
Oh
below,
yeah. It was.
and I thought,
I mean, people laugh about the Blues Brothers and the chicken wire, but that place had the chicken wire. I'm for real.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, I'm not
yeah.
just making that up. It's a
No,
verifiable
no,
thing.
yeah. The men's room was out back,
Correct.
pissed in a gutter.
Yeah. A couple of guys got arrested for pissing outside because they wouldn't go inside.
I wouldn't go.
They wouldn't go in the bathroom. They went outside and went to jail.
Went to
I,
jail. I
I,
was gonna
I
say
don't.
it's pissing inside from
I,
then.
it smelled bad inside, but I don't know any of them personally.
Right, right. Let's see. I got some notes here. That's what I keep looking at. This is just things that went through my head when I was considering talking to you. The the party at the house out there, our house where somehow we come riding in to Double J, and somebody had a handful of Quaaludes, and I bought all of them, and I said, let's all go out the house, and you got to take one when you come in the door.
Yeah, I think I
You
was.
may or may not remember that night.
Well, I know that I was asleep in a plate of food about 10 minutes later.
Yep.
That I do remember. That is probably that is right up there with some of the most. It's not. I started to say one of the few because there are many embarrassing moments, but the that's one that I've not forgotten.
Right. Yeah. Little
Not
Herbert, he was
no,
out there. I can't remember. There
I'm
was a
not
bunch of
proud of
us
it
out
either.
there. Yeah. Yeah, that brings me to another note I made on here. It was called, I just made a little statement said wet and dewy. Speaking about waking up in a plate of food, it seems I recall you waking up in the backyard naked when you lived on Poplar's Road.
Oh, I might have. You never know. But I'm no Bobby the fireman. I'll tell you that.
Oh God. Um, what else we got
Bobby the
here?
fireman. You want to feel my hose?
Yeah. Speaking of Bobby, Bobby Davis,
Right.
I guess he's still kicking, ain't he?
Yeah. Last I know. I think about him often. As a matter of fact, he's one of the one of the. In fact, he probably is personally that I know the most. I think loquacious is the really
Word.
right word to use that describes him. He's not as good as old brother Where Out Art Thou and George Clooney, but he's pretty close. He can spin a pretty
Pretty
good yarn.
close.
And
Yeah,
I, I, yeah, I think about him often.
yeah. That takes me back to. I'm pretty sure it was you guys playing some in some formation of a band, but him and I. This was back when the Gong Show was on, and there was the Unknown Comic,
Oh yeah,
and him and I went to the bar and got a couple of paper sacks, put some eye holes in them, and came out as the Unknown Dancers.
we
I
had
think that was up in Centralia somewhere.
several people tried to disguise their identity over the years.
Yeah.
Usually me.
Oh Lord. I'll tell you a funny thing about Bobby. We nicknamed him Bibbity Bobbity, and I think he gave me the nickname of Richie Bitchy. Uh,
Oh, see,
but
I wasn't going to
anyway,
say that. Bitchy,
yep,
bitchy.
Richie
Go ahead.
Bitchy.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Um, the funny thing about Bobby is knowing him back all those years. After I married Tammy, I found out that her mother was married to Bobby Davis. And it's like, well, wait a minute, it almost makes us family somehow, or something, the ex. But I go home every Christmas, and finally one year he answered the phone and was coherent enough to agree to meet at my daughter's house, and a bunch of us all got together,
Good,
from there in town.
good, good,
And so that's
good.
the last time I seen him, but that's been a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I we haven't run
So
into him in a while, but he's always one of my favorites to get to talk to.
yeah, yeah, Bobby Davis. So anyway, tell me. Um, Kids, you and Michelle, you have any kids?
We have a couple of kids. They're scattered out all over the country. Um, we don't. Oh, let's see. They 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 all had sense enough to get out of here. I'll leave it at
Right.
that.
Right.
With
Right.
Michelle and I, they all had sense enough to get out of here.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. When I was growing up, I was born there in Mount Vernon. First residence was on Brownsville Road, and and then
Mine
before
too,
I
by the
was,
way.
as I turned, yeah, from five, I think about 5 years old, we moved down here to Florida, and so my cousins were all up there, and I always wanted to be there. And so when we moved back, it was like, oh yeah, I'm in Mount Vernon again. And then after a few years rolled by, I was like, you know what? I think I don't want to be here no more. The poor town's just dying off, and the old buildings standing, and it's
Here's
depressing.
here's how pitiful my life is, Richard. I a trip to Mount Vernon is a trip to the city for us.
Yeah,
So we
the
get to
big
go to
city.
that's right. We get to go to Mount Vernon. It's big time. Seriously, we go to Evansville and Paducah for our exposure to more people.
Sure.
We're in a very isolated area, and my since I'm retired and at home, I've been here in Dahlgren and in Cave and Rock both. It can be a little daunting to find people to talk to. So it's cool that you're doing this. I had the plan, but
Right.
not the brains.
Pretty good
What's this?
sized cave. They got a walkway
Oh,
comes around. It's a state park. There's a ferries and stuff right there. They got a walkway around to it,
yeah, that's the cave. If
That's
they
the
and
pan,
there's
cave.
a cave in rock,
if they would pan to the left and zoom in, you could
the
see our
famous
place.
cave.
Yeah. 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 I got to figure out how to get rid of that now.
Well, it
Dang.
isn't. It isn't just me.
Yeah, I don't use this function very often. I forget how to clear it off of the screen. Jesus, come on.
Yeah, for your listeners, I'm going to tell you that I've had stress all day. Hey, do you have legal marijuana
Hey,
down there?
we do, we do.
Oh, good. I didn't know that. Yeah, we've got that here in Illinois these days. I didn't think I'd ever live long enough to see it.
Right. No, they do down here. You still got to have a card though for it. You got
Yeah.
to go to a doctor and get a card. But it's they matter of fact, this last session they tried to get it voted, just legal, and
Recreational. Yeah.
didn't quite make it. But yeah,
Yeah.
recreational. But,
I can't.
but yeah,
I
it's funny. A lot of people down here. I eat gummies,
right.
and I can get them by mail. So
Well,
I
that's
don't
how
have a card.
I was all stressed today. I was fixing dinner for. I had a friend of my friend of my wife's, my friend too, to do some looking at some work, and I was all stressed out. But Gumby took care of that.
Right, right. Here's a couple of sand fleas you might recognize. Um,
Oh, that's so funny, man. I had just gotten a haircut. I was,
oh yeah,
yeah, I'd had long hair. When I retired, I didn't get a haircut for a long time. And I had just
right.
gotten my
Yeah, I went
hair.
through that phase too.
I had my long hair cut off in Evansville at the barber college to make my old man proud. And
Right.
by the time I got out of there, it didn't look just great. And then I had it cut a couple more times in Jamaica, and I think that was the final cut there. We had more fun, man, doing that.
Uh,
There's somewhere else. There's a photograph, and I look like I'm madder than hell. The truth is, I was just trying to make a face, to look like. Apparently, I succeeded. Maybe I'm an actor. I
right.
don't know. Yeah, Jamaica
Here's
is big
another one.
fun. Yeah, okay, go.
Here's another one I found.
Uh, that's uh, that's when the Cubs. Um, it's on the Ohio, right? Probably. It looks like it might even be at the cave.
Yeah, I was
Um,
thinking that's got kind of getting
I
close to it anyway.
I rarely wear the Chicago gear, and they must have been in the playoffs, or maybe that's the year they won it. I don't remember, but they probably
Right.
got beat.
Yeah, that's pretty ritual for them.
Easy, Chief. We already dropped two to the
Yeah.
Dodgers. The Cardinals are in first place.
Oh boy, I haven't been following them. I,
I don't blame you.
I don't know. I just never did follow sports much. When we're down here, we the Tampa baseball team and the hockey team, and then
Right,
the football. That there for a couple of years, they were winning everything, and
right.
so I kind of followed along then. But after that,
Well, you have a
I
pro basketball
anymore
team.
all you can do is what's that?
You have pro basketball. Well, you do. You do in Miami, I know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think Orlando's got a basketball team too,
yeah, yeah. You're right.
or
You're
Magic
right.
or something like that. Yeah,
I think we have one in Illinois. I'm not sure.
right. You recognize this guy?
That's some loser. I can't tell where he is. Looks like
Del Rio
maybe.
Trio. I don't know.
It looks like maybe at the Sportsman's Club out at Miller Lake. And I could tell
Right.
you one really, really, really good story about that one, but it's not fit for the air.
Yeah. Well, okay.
That was
And
with
then one
that was my,
more. I
that was
think
with
I
my brother,
go
and
ahead.
Owen was playing drums, and Dell playing guitar. Dell was late for the show for that night. I don't remember exactly why.
Didn't have anybody to load his equipment.
Well, let's leave it at that.
Yeah. I got one last one here.
Okay,
I
go.
think I already commented on Facebook or something a long time ago on this one. Um, Called it urban camping.
Oh yeah, that's I was with again. I was with Owen and with Steve Mandrell. You remember him too, right? My
Oh
brother-in-law.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We were in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and rented the room upstairs above Ground Zero. And everybody's like, "Man, you can't camp out. You can't sleep outside on the streets in Clarksdale, Mississippi. You'd be killed." And
Right.
actually, I had a big time. Yeah, it was
Right.
fun.
Yeah.
Talking to people on the street, and You know, it's that's
Yeah.
I enjoy going to cities where you get to do that kind of stuff.
Right. Right. I what caught my eye is I done a lot of backpack camping and hiking and stuff, so
Right.
typically the more isolated in the woods you could get, the better off it was. And so when I seen this picture in the building, the gas meter, I go, oh, urban camping.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it was it was fun, and I enjoyed that. I mean, we live in peace and solitude. This is all we. I mean, we've got the market
Right.
cornered on that stuff here. So when we get
Yeah.
out, we go right up the gut into the cities, man. Every
Yeah.
chance we get,
Right. Yeah.
and
That sounds
we navigate by going to bars in little towns, right? So you cross the
yeah.
state line, get to the town, find a tavern late in the day. Now, I'm not
Yeah.
recommending drinking or driving and driving.
Right.
I'm recommending drinking or driving, I guess. Anyway,
There you go.
so we'll get directions on how to go, and everywhere we go, they say, "Oh my God, don't go to Denver, don't go to Portland,
Right.
don't go to," you know. So we'll find
Yeah.
old U.S. highways and sneak our way in, and find the old hotels and consider Denver is on a river, and kind of like driving in
Right.
Evansville, but I didn't know that. I
I
assumed it
didn't
was
know that
laid out in
either.
a grid just like Chicago. Everything west of Chicago was on a grid. You get
Oh yeah.
downtown
Yeah.
Denver, and it's as crooked as it's wild. It's fun,
Well, it was laid out back before they started surveying.
right? It
I
was
think
right
it
there
was
on a river.
already, yeah.
It's true.
Because it's funny, you can,
They have one of those spray things at that Mile High Stadium where they play baseball out there. It's infused in marijuana. It's water, and you can go stand under it when it's hotter than hell, and you can just stand under there and just smile. I don't know why they don't do
smile.
that everywhere. Except maybe icicles around here.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Right. I remember they had those at Six Flags, and some of the biggest theme parks had those misters that would keep you cool.
I really did go in there expecting them to have one of those Mister things because they sell that it's legal marijuana on the corner everywhere you look. Illinois is
Yeah.
real kind of Gestapo like. Colorado is all well, California, all something about the
Yeah.
West Coast appeals to me. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I got a son. My oldest, lives out there in Lake County. Ironically, he ran into a mutual friend of ours that lives out there, Mark Lips.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a high school mate.
he worked at yeah he
I'll be
worked at a
darned.
little metal fab shop there, whatever that I guess did some art type stuff too. And Mark walked in there and he sent a picture to me and put it up on Facebook. Ran into the son of my friend from Mount Vernon High in Mount Vernon when we went to school together and whatever. And I was looking, I
That's
was like, oh
wild.
my God,
Yeah, that's
small
wild.
world.
Well, let me tell you, we're
Small world.
about here. It's your podcast, but we're coming up on the 30-minute mark, Richard, and it's probably about out of time.
Okay.
Danny, do you have time for one more quick story? Well, yeah, Richard, I do.
All
Uh,
right, well, go for it.
about Jamaica, we were down there, and this friend of ours, Mary, we've known for a long time, says to me, we're hanging out, and she says to me, I have something for you, and she walks out, hands this to me. Well, I didn't even know it existed. It's a
Right.
T-shirt from back from the Double J days. The Oxford Creek Band had my name on the back of it. Well, it turns out that John Bannister and Nona are friends of hers from the St. Louis area. So if Johnny B is out there and the Hubba Bubba and
Yeah.
man Charlie J and all those guys, we had a big time.
Yeah. I seen that. I think you put that on Facebook or something. Maybe Michelle did that picture of that shirt.
Well, she can't keep a secret. She doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
She doesn't know
It
a good
was,
story when she sees one. She just passes them
I,
on.
I seen the shirt. I seen you with turning around looking over your shoulder with it on. I
Yeah.
haven't seen John and Nona. Probably been, I don't know, 5 years,
Oh, John,
something like that.
they would be good guests for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I got. It's funny. You talking about the tech challenge? I got a hold of them, and I said, "Look," I said, "This was after Tammy and I were married." And I said, "Look, Tammy and I's in town, and I said we'd love to meet you over at St. Louis at the Broadway Oyster Bar."
right. One of my
And
favorites.
Yeah. I said, you know where that's at, right? We've been there with them several times. Usually, anytime we went to a ball game over there, we ended up at Broadway Oyster Bar. And yeah, yeah. So we're headed over there, and we go through O'Fallon. We're getting close to St. Louis, and John calls me, and he says, "Where exactly is this place now?" And I said, "Well," I
No
said,
way.
it's right there south of the stadium there on Broadway." And he goes, "The stadium?" He goes, "I'm in Belleville." I said, "No way." So we
Oh
had dinner
man.
there at the Oyster Bar and got ready to leave. And he goes, I'm going to have to figure out how to get back home now. I'm all turned around. I said, "Well, just pull it up on your phone." He goes, "We don't know how to do that."
Hey, man.
Like, oh my
I'm a
goodness.
lot closer to Johnny B than I am you, Richie Bitchy, because I don't like the damn stuff. I've been nervous about it all day. I do like being able to check the weather though, see if the fish are biting.
Yeah, yeah.
That's about it.
Well, it's funny, the cell phone, that's not even a good name for it anymore because it probably gets used less for that than it does anything else. It's, it's every bit of human knowledge that you could possibly want to know is right there in your hand, the palm of your hand.
Yeah, the problem
It's
being
crazy.
able to filter it out into some kind of comprehensible scheme. I mean, it's just to me, it's like being buffeted in the wind like it is outside right now. It's just so damn much information. It's like a fire
Yeah,
hose in your face. Worse than that, to me.
yeah.
So
And then you got to filter through it to try to figure out what's true, what's false, what's fake.
I there are two or three. There are a handful of people that I listen to carefully, and most of it I try really really hard not to pay any attention to because
Right.
I mean things anyone don't things are just things seem a little iffy to me these days. I'll put it that way.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. All right, Dan. Well, you've got the app now. We'll have to do this again sometime. I'm going to tell everybody goodbye and stay on with me, and I'm going to kick it out of record. Thanks for looking at this thing
My
and hit the
pleasure.
subscribe button.
Okay, will do.